حي على الفلاح.
Help! Help! O Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, help! Cried a helpless Arab woman on the shores of Sindh, Pakistan, more than 1200 years ago. Hajjaj is too far away to hear your cries, foolish woman, jeered back the heartless sea robbers. Even if your words do reach him, we are out of his reach. Not many days had passed before Hajjaj came to know about the sad fate that had overtaken a group of Arab women and children in Sindh. Soon, he was able to lay his hands on those who thought they were beyond his reach. How this all took place is one of the most thrilling stories of history. The cries of a helpless Muslim woman brought the banner of Islam to Sindh. With it came peace, freedom, justice, and other blessings of Islam. For the first time in their history, the people of Sindh had a taste of the good life. They almost came to adore the handsome young general who brought these blessings with him. They began to love Islam. The banner of Islam came to stay in Sindh. It has stayed there to this day. The young general was Muhammad Ibn Qasim, and with his conquest of Sindh in 711 AD, an autonomous Muslim state linked with the Umayyads, and later the Abbasid Caliphate was established with jurisdiction extending over south and central parts of present-day Pakistan. Islam is now the largest and the state religion of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Pakistan has over 240 million devotees of Islam. As much as 90% of the population follows Sunni Islam. Before the arrival of Islam, the religion comprising Pakistan was home to a diverse plethora of faiths, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Zoroastrianism. With the advent of Islam and the Muslims conquering the Middle East from the Byzantine Empire and the Sasanian Empire, the Rashidun Caliphate reached the coastal region of Makran and present-day Balochistan. In 643, the second Caliph, Umar Ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, 634 to 644, ordered an invasion of Makran against the Rai dynasty. Following the Rashidun capture of Makran, Umar restricted the army to not pass beyond and consolidated his position in Makran. During the reign of the fourth Caliph, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, the Rashidun army conquered the town of Kalat in the heart of Balochistan. And then during the reign of the sixth Umayyad Caliph, Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik ibn Marwan radiyallahu anhu, the Arab military general Muhammad Ibn Qasim commanded the Umayyad incursion into Sindh. Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik ibn Marwan was the Khalifa of the Muslims when Dahar ruled over Sindh. The Khalifa lived in Damascus. He had a powerful viceroy, Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, to look after his eastern provinces. One year, some Arab ships set sail from Ceylon. Several Arab merchants and their families were on board. They were going for Hajj. Each year, when pilgrims went to Mecca, the Raja of Ceylon sent gifts for the Khalifa. These ships were carrying the rich gifts of the Raja for Khalifa Walid. The ships were heading towards Basra. All of a sudden, a severe storm overtook them off the coast of Sindh. They were forced to seek shelter at the port of Debu. The sea robbers of Sindh saw an opportunity to plunder. The ships were laden with rich cargo. There were a good number of women and children on board. The robbers feared no serious resistance. So the sea robbers attacked the ships, looted the cargo, and slayed many of the men. Several women and children were taken as prisoners. A few men, however, managed to escape. They reached Basra and told Hajjaj their tale of woe. They told him a helpless woman had cried out for help and had been mocked at by the cruel robbers. Hajjaj was deeply moved. Hajjaj took up this matter with Dahar. Dahar did not take this very seriously. Hajjaj is a long way off, he thought to himself. An impassable desert lies between him and me. I can easily put him off. So he said in his reply, I am helpless in the matter. You are free to deal with the robbers as you think fit. Dahar thought that his reply would end the matter. He had many times caused trouble and mikran, and Hajjaj could do him no harm. Little did he know that this time Hajjaj meant business. It was a question of the safety of his sea lanes. Hajjaj wrote to Khalifa Walid and explained what had happened at Debul. He sought the Khalifa's permission to send an expedition to Sindh. The Khalifa knew that the expedition was going to prove very costly, but the honor of Islam and the safety of his people were at stake. So he allowed his viceroy at Basra to take action against the sea robbers of Debul. The Arab expedition marched under Ubaydullah. Passing through Mikran, they entered Sindh. Dahar knew full well that the expedition had been sent not against him, but against the robbers on whom he himself could not lay hands. Nevertheless, he sent an army to beat back the Arabs. The small Arab force was no match for the army of Dahar. Ubaydullah fell fighting, and most of his men perished as well. The expedition failed. However, Hajjaj was undaunted. He fitted out another expedition under Budayl. This time the Arabs were prepared to face the Hindu army. Budayl was a fearless general, and he put up a tough fight. But to his dismay, a great surprise was in store for him. The Arab horses became unmanageable at the sight of Indian elephants. Budayl's own horse got terribly frightened and threw him down. The Arab commander was slain, and his men had to fall back to Mikran. The two defeats in Sindh had little effect on Hajjaj's determination. If anything, they made his resolve all the stronger. The two failures made certain that the preparation of a third expedition needed a far greater attention and thoroughness. Hajjaj decided to give personal attention to every detail of the third expedition. It was this man that Dahar had unwittingly angered. Little did the Hindu Raja know that he had chosen to cross swords with a man who would give him no quarter. Muhammad Ibn Qasim sets out. Muhammad Ibn Qasim got orders to get ready for his new responsibility. The task was a difficult one. Muhammad had to march into the strange land of the Hindus, across wide desert tracts. He had to fight an enemy made over bold by two easy victories. He was to be among alien people with whom he had nothing in common. His handful of men could be easily overwhelmed by the sheer weight of their numbers. These and similar other considerations were enough to unnerve even a tried general. But Muhammad was made of something different. He was as cool and prudent in dealing with men as he was fearless in battle. No task could be too difficult for him. With calm confidence, he made charge at Ray and set off to Shiraz, where he was to join his army. The youthful commander of Islam was on his way to Sindh. It was a quiet day in the autumn of 711. The seaport of Debul hummed with busy activity. In the middle of the town stood the idol temple. As many as 3,000 shaven Brahmins served the temple. There was, in addition, an armed force of 4,000 Rajputs to guard the town. A strong stone wall protected it on all sides. Thus guarded and protected, Debul stood proudly in the mild autumn sun. It was before this city that Muhammad Ibn Qasim appeared after a long and weary march. Muhammad found his artillery waiting for him at the port. The fleet sent by Hajjaj had reached Debul before his army came. The Arab fleet had proved too strong for the sea robbers of Sindh. They, who had looted a merchant ship, felt powerless before the naval strength of Hajjaj. They had not even dreamed that the Arabs could take punitive action against them, but the unexpected happened. The wails of a helpless Arab woman had reached the ears of Hajjaj. The Arabs had come to help her, with the day of reckoning clearly in sight. The robbers took refuge in the safety of Debul. There was no one to check the entry of the fleet into the port. The Arab artillery was safely brought on shore. The giant Ares towered above the other manjniks, catapults, and was ready to go into action. The Hindus had put all their hopes in the talisman, which they thought was invincible. The destruction of the talisman came to them like a stroke of lightning. They could hardly believe their eyes. They had believed their idol god to be all-powerful. They had believed the talisman to be their best defense. But these beliefs had shattered to pieces. Debul fell to the young Arab general. The wide open gateway of Sindh now lay at the feet of the Arabs. Muhammad could have sacked it, but he was tolerant. He treated the Hindus kindly. Their temple was left untouched. The priests were left alone. The Hindu governor of the town, who had pleaded for mercy, was allowed to continue as governor. In short, the young conqueror of Debul showed unheard of tolerance and kindness to the fallen foe. Before leaving Debul, Muhammad laid out a Muslim quarter in the town. Here he built a masjid. This was the first masjid to be built in the land of the Hind. It was a common Arab practice to plant Muslim colonies in the land they conquered. These colonies became the centers from which the light of Islam spread all around. By their warm human sympathy and kind manners, the inhabitants of the Muslim colonies proved to be the best missionaries of Islam. But even after the fall of Debul, there was no trace of Dahar and his army. Muhammad had orders to teach this vain Raja a lesson. He could not leave Sindh without an encounter with the Raja. So after placing an armed force of 4,000 in Debul, he marched on into the interior of Sindh to deal with Dahar. The fall of Debul made Dahar very angry. He lost his temper in addressing the following letter to Muhammad. The taking of Debul is no great success. There is nothing to feel overjoyed at this victory. Debul is a town inhabited by mean people. It is a town of merchants and traders who know nothing about the art of war. 2 Muslim armies came to Sindh before you. The commanders of both of them were slain. If you do not withdraw from Sindh, you too will meet the same fate. Do not be misled by what you saw at Debul. Stronger people inhabit other parts of Sindh. We are a brave people. Our soldiers fight to the last man, but never give in. Our troops are numberless. They are armed with the best of weapons. Moreover, we have elephants and horses. I do not think you have any of these things. So if you care for your life, better withdraw. That would be the best thing for you to do. After all, why should you risk your life and the lives of your men? I hope you will listen to my advice. To this letter, Muhammad sent the following reply. You are proud of your elephants, your horses, and your troops. You boast of your weapons and equipment. We, on the other hand, put all our trust in Allah. He will protect us. He will grant us victory and honor. You caused risings against us in Baluchistan and Mekran. You even sent your troops there. We overlooked all these things and took no action against you. Then some of your subjects looted our ships. They took our women and children as prisoners. Thereupon, we requested you to punish the robbers and to set free the prisoners. You did neither of the two things. On the contrary, you sent back word that we ourselves should deal with the robbers. At this, we sent out 2 expeditions against these evil men. But each time your troops came out to fight, and they slayed our commanders. What right had you to act in this way? Your action left us with no choice but to invade Sindh. On entering Debul, we found our women and children in your jails. That clearly showed that you were at the back of the robbers who looted our ships. What excuse have you for that? I have brought all these things to the notice of the Khalifa. He has ordered me to punish you for your evil deeds. So get ready for a final trial of strength. I will fight you to the bitter end, even though it may cost me my life. Dahar felt uneasy when he heard of the Muslim landing, but he made a show of courage and determination to check the further advance of the Arabs. He was camping at Rawar, not far from the river. The 2 armies lay facing each other for several days. The Hindu army was no less than 5 times as large as the army of Muhammad Ibn Qasim. So on June 20, 712 AD, Dahar mounted his elephant and ordered the attack. Dahar felt sure that the Arabs would be unable to stand before the crushing weight of numbers. In this he was soon dismayed. The Arabs hit back very hard. Dahar sat proudly on his elephant. Arab archers were ordered to make his elephant their special target. At last, an Arab succeeded in planting a burning arrow in Dahar's howdage. Immediately, the howdage caught fire. The impact of the fire made the elephant scared. At last, he was struck by an arrow and fell from his elephant. Dahar managed to mount a horse, and the fighting restarted with full fury. Just as the sun was going down, an Arab soldier cut down a horseman of the enemy. He didn't know his victim, but the Hindu army knew who he was. He was none other than Dahar, who had fallen, fighting bravely. Immediately, the Hindus lost heart and fled from the field. Some of them fled to Aror, the capital. Dahar's son, Jai Singh, with a large number of troops, fled to Brahmanabad. Muhammad Ibn Qasim won a complete victory. All was ready for a march into the heart of Hindustan when the news of Hajjaj's death reached Sindh. All Arabs in Sindh felt much the same as their young leader. Orders were received from Walid, the Khalifa, that further advance be stopped. Hajjaj was one of the most trusted and the blessed officer of the Khalifa. Walid thought that the success in Sindh was solely due to Hajjaj. Now that Hajjaj was no more, the Khalifa thought it was wise to call a halt in Sindh. He knew almost nothing about the monumental talents of the young conquerors of Sindh, but worse things were to follow. In the year 715, Walid passed away. The successor on throne, Caliph Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik, was a generous monarch who owed his throne to the opponents of the late Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Most of these were relatives of the people slayed or mistreated by Hajjaj. Some 20,000 women and 50,000 men were found unjustly imprisoned when Hajjaj died. They demanded revenge, and there was no way nor enough reason for Suleiman to stop them. Muhammad bin Qasim was high on the hit list due to his close association with Hajjaj. It is said that the young general was about to invade an Indian state when the caliph's messengers arrived to take him back in chains. True to the soldier's honor, like always, Muhammad bin Qasim obliged. His followers wept bitterly, warning him that he was going back to a certain death. We don't know what he said in reply, if he said anything. We do know, however, that shortly afterwards, just before he died of in the prison of Wasit, he recited an Arabic couplet to the effect, "They wasted me at the prime of my youth, and what a youth they wasted, the one who was a defender of their borders." Today, more than 1200 years, not only in Pakistan, but Muslims all over the world feel proud of him. It was he who first brought the light of Islam to India. Thus, in a stricter sense, it is he who was the first founder of Pakistan. Allah's peace and blessings be on this gallant young conqueror of Sindh, who selflessly worked for the greater glory of Allah.